In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen. Please be seated. It certainly isn't a regal scene, is it? The one we celebrate hanging from a cross, not standing on a balcony, writhing in pain, not waving to his citizens, mocked by crowds, not receiving their praises, crowned with thorns, not with gold, surrounded by crooks, not courtiers. It does indeed seem that whoever chose today's gospel for this feast of Christ the King has either an ironic sense of humor or does not understand much about royalty. Maybe he doesn't understand royalty, at least in the human sense, but he does understand God. You see, God is not controlled by our understanding of things, but rather sets the bar by which humans are to understand things. How God understands what it means to be king is much different from our understanding of what it means to be king. When we think of majesty, God thinks of mercy. It is not from a throne that God grants favors, but from the wood of the cross that he grants the requests of any who ask with respect. Even a thief with nothing to offer but a contrite heart with but a few beats left. Where we think of pomp, God thinks of poverty. Willing to be stripped bare except for maybe a loincloth, so that all who are too poor to pay the penalty of sin may be ransomed and welcomed into the riches of divine mercy. When we think of power, God thinks of passion. The passion of love so great that God becomes one with us. A passion of suffering so great that the King bears the sins of all his people. A passing over from life to death, so that the subjects of his reign may pass from death to life. This divine King indeed does not think the way that we do in other ways as well. When a reality does not seem apparent, we tend to dismiss it as unreal. And yet, when Christ our King appeared to be anything but victorious, he accomplished for his people what we have never been dreamed of in the life of the universe, becoming sons and daughters of the living God. When we are racked with pain, betrayed by those we love, misunderstood by those who have helped, we tend to withdraw into ourselves and wallow in self-pity. Yet Christ our King, in the midst of the spasms caused by iron driven into his wrists and feet, the sting of the whipped flesh on his body, the abandonment of his closest friends, the mockery of bystanders, reaches out to accept the last wish of a near-dead sinner. When life seemed lost to death, as Christ's body lay in the tomb, death had lost to life forever and ever. Today we honor Christ with praise and hymns, not to cover over the agony of the cross or to avoid having to reflect upon it, but rather because we have begun to see as God sees. We rejoice that we have a God King who understands things differently than we do. We rejoice because everything this King sees differently is to our benefit: salvation, reconciliation, and adoption into his royal family. The greatest honor we can bestow upon this King is not our hymns, our prayers, and liturgy, These are only starting points. The highest praise we can offer to the Lord is to imitate his example, to see as he sees, to think as he thinks, to act as he acts. For imitation is the highest form of praise.